I chose Haiti just because they were hurting so badly and I didn't really know if I could help or how I could help, so I just tried to search for a way to and found one. My experience at Stevens helped me in a lot of different ways during this trip. As an operational engineer, I kind of just sat down and did the math of, can I be effective down there? Can 3 weeks of me sledgehammering, you know, if I just take the money I'm going to spend on a plane ticket and give it to them, can they do more with it? And that's why I decided to go more than 2 weeks, because if I just stayed there 2 weeks, it didn't make sense. It was really just like a strange vacation and not actually helping. So once I kind of realized that I could have an impact and I could actually help these people, I decided, you know what, I have so much and I'm gonna be able to earn it back. I can work for it. I can, you know, these people don't even have that opportunity. They can't even get a job if they want it. And you know, what's 3 weeks to me, and when I can actually help a lot of these people's lives change. Well, once I told some of my coworkers about using my vacation time to go on this trip, one of the older guys I work with mentioned that there was a Haitian in our department, and I was new to the company. I didn't know him. And so at one of the company parties, I just went up and said, hey, I'm going to Haiti in a few months. Do you think maybe you could help me with some pronunciation on, the Creole that I should know and that kind of stuff? And he looked at me shocked and said, like, what are you doing going to Haiti by yourself? Like, that is absurd. And he didn't say he'd help me with my Creole. He didn't, he just said, you wait, I'll get back to you. I'll let you know, And maybe 3 days later, I got a phone call from him that he, his brother, and another Port Authority employee who was Haitian born were all going to come with me for 2 weeks. I went for 3 and they came for 2. When I arrived in Haiti, the airport was devastated. You couldn't go in it, you couldn't use their terminal. It was, it had sustained an earthquake and wasn't functioning. So they had all these makeshift areas, and they had no electricity, so the belts for the baggage didn't run, and all of the flights came at the same time of day. So there were 3 flights, all of the baggage just dumped in a big tented space, and you had to go through and pick out which was yours and hope you didn't get anybody else's, and then you had to fight your way to find the taxi or to find, because everyone wants to carry your bag and help you out, and the Americans are here, and that was when I was most grateful to have my Haitian coworkers with me. They, because they could just speak to the people around them, and I had no idea really how to communicate with them yet. And it was daunting. It was real hot, really hot. And when you're used to things running a very certain way, and when you do efficiency studies for a living, picking through luggage and figuring all that out was pretty intense. And then we had a 2.5-hour ride to the base that we stayed in, which was in Léogâne, about 20 miles south and west of Port-au-Prince. And we drove right by the palace that was completely crumbled and all sorts of mudslides, and the road that we were driving on would just melt away at points because it had melted from these earthquakes, and there was no longer anywhere to drive, and we just kind of had to bump around until we got across it. So it was a really intense first ride there. Well, for the first few days I was in Haiti, I took on the job of rubbling, they call it, and it became such a common word to me that when I came home and explained it to people, they would be like, well, what's rubbling? And I realized, oh, nobody knows what that is. But most of the volunteers down there would spend about 6 hours a day sledgehammering, shoveling, and wheelbarrowing out debris from people's homes or a school or anything that had collapsed. So basically you'd walk in and sledgehammer someone's roof that had collapsed onto the floor and shovel it into wheelbarrows and dump it into the street until it was cleared out and they could start rebuilding there, or they could put their tent onto their house instead of in the street, and that kind of thing. And you just moved from one house to another house to another house every day. I was given quite a lesson in how to rubble from a 9-year-old boy named Orlando. And every day Orlando would walk me home and asked me to take him to America with me, and I said, well, I haven't learned how to, sledgehammer yet. So the next day he'd teach me how to sledgehammer, and, every day he'd walk me home, and every day when I sledgehammered, no matter how well I did it, he'd say, no, 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 Mary. No, Marie, you have to do it like this, and show me again and again and again. But I got good at it, and he trained me well. And I couldn't believe, like, when I was 9, I don't think I knew what a sledgehammer was, and this kid was working hard. It was at his school, actually, that we were doing this, and he wanted to go back to school because, you know, all they want is to get an education and get out of there. And I don't think I've ever seen little kids work harder to go back to school. They were all shoveling all day long and working really hard. And when we finally got it cleared out and they could go to school the next day, there was a big party and they invited us there and we danced, and it was a lot of fun. I got a lot out of this experience, and it's hard to just say in words, but obviously it makes me grateful for everything that I have, and not that I wasn't before I went, but it made you realize the true extremity of it. And you can't even fathom some of the things that these people just do in their daily lives. And now I can think of that when I do my daily live things. You know, every time I flush a toilet, I'm grateful. I'm just genuinely grateful. And there are a lot of other things. You know, I saw a child be born, which is a pretty powerful thing. Never happened before, and kind of scary, but it just impacts you in a way that, you know, a lot of other things don't. You know, simple matter-of-fact ways, and you know, I redid the inventory at the field hospital because that was something, you know, people overlooked, and it's something that I've, you know, have like excessive amounts of knowledge about. So just went in and did it, and things were running a lot more smoothly. Simple things like putting the names in Creole too, so that when a nurse comes in that's Haitian, she can read the sign. Something that's most difficult in Haiti, and that a lot of people, I think, take for granted here or don't even realize, is education down there is so difficult to get. The reason that so many of these homes collapsed, almost every one, is because no one's learned how to pour concrete properly. When Chile had an earthquake of almost the same size, all their buildings are still standing because they knew how to put rebar in the right places, and simple things that Haitians just don't get the opportunity to learn. I mean, I enjoy learning, I've done it for a long time, I'm still doing it now, and it's so unfortunate that they don't have the opportunity to, like we all do. But then there were things like, you know, living with 100 people in a tiny little base, and when you live, I was an RA, and you learn how to deal with people and how to make them like you, even if maybe they wouldn't naturally, and you just kind of, you learn. It's a small community at Stevens, and it's a small community there, and it helped me immensely to know how to just live and let people enjoy life and do their thing without getting totally involved in every little bit, which is something I think unique to the Stevens campus because it's so small. And beyond that, I mean, there's just the engineering side of whether it's, you know, checking a structure of a building to see if someone could actually sleep under it for the night, or if we should tell them to move out because it's dangerous. And then there's the improvisation of like, well, how are we going to build this if we don't have any of the supplies we should have to build this? And you kind of figure it out and try and make it work, which is very much innovative and Stevens thing that I got to utilize while I was in Haiti. Even before I was a member of the Edwin A. Stevens Society, I learned how to give back through a lot of my Stevens activities. It's a small community here, not too small, but it's a community, and you know a lot of people, and you feel responsible for them and want to make their lives just as, you know, better every day. Then you do the plays, because that's a really important way to give back to a school. You know, a lot of people come and see those plays, and it's a whole nother aspect of Stevens that is really important, the arts and the, you know, to be able to show that there's more than just engineering here. And it gives back to the community, doing shows for little kids and all that kind of stuff. And beyond that, you start getting into your senior class gift and, you know, working to get your senior class all of their activities and events together, and that's donating your time and a lot of hard work, and you do it because you want your class and your friends to enjoy their last bit of time together, and know what it's like to have a class and to feel like you're a part of something bigger than just, oh yeah, I got this degree. And now there's a clock outside Stevens, which we all worked, the class 2009 worked to put in there with, I think, the class 2004. And through that you learn, you know, like even as a young alumna, even as a, you know, a student, I was still a student then, small amounts and whatever you can give it, because why not? You're helping people that you know, that you see every day. And you know, if you can help anybody, why wouldn't you at that point? So I think a lot of my giving and the opportunities I've had in my life have come from the way I've learned to view the community around me, because Stevens instills that in you, to really know the people that you're doing things for and do whatever you can for them.